Hello, everybody. If you know that you have 100% control, that you can target the customers that need and want your services, and that you know you can increase your conversion ratio by 30% and increase your annual revenue between 40 and 45%, would you make the effort to do that for your business? Would you make the effort to learn to do that so that you can increase your sales volume? Because one of the things I've learned with this pandemic, a lot of small businesses got hurt, including myself. But there was one saving grace that I'm going to talk to you about right now. And if you learn that, you'll never be at the mercy of technology. And because of technology, this actually enhances what I'm about to talk to you about. You're probably wondering, what am I talking about, right? Well, first of all, welcome to the Martial Arts of Sales. This is the opening monologue. What I want to talk about is many people are starting to talk about it now, especially online, is cold calling effective today? And why is cold calling important today in today's technological age? Let me explain why I believe that. For me personally, I will never stop cold calling. It'll never get old. Because when all else fails, good old cold calling will get you sales. Especially if you have a product and a service that can literally help businesses get through situations. Now, the thing about cold calling is you got a lot of great technology today, right? You got a lot of different platforms and funnels and apps and ads that you can do. I don't think it's for everyone. And what happens is, since technology changes, that may not apply because technology gets old real quick. I call them dinosaurs. But the phone never gets old. Matter of fact, the phone is our priority right now. We do everything on our phone, right? So you have to think about that. The question comes down to, how do you combine what I call automation or online with all these platforms and good old cold calling? And let me tell you, if you keep an open mind, and be receptive to cold calling and learn it, you will see your business grow exponentially. You will be less and less at the mercy of salespeople. You can actually develop salespeople yourself. And I'm very fortunate and very glad that I could cold call, that I could teach it. Matter of fact, earlier today, I was with my team, meeting with my sales team, my graphic team. My recruiter who lives in Las Vegas is going to be coming into El Paso next month. And also my graphic designer. Now, I have a plan and we prepare that plan, so when I get back from vacation, we're going to be aggressive and assertive, and we're going to do some wonderful things and help some clients because I have everything in place now. Like I said, I got hurt like everyone else, but I'm able to come back stronger and better because of cold calling. I mean, it's just the bottom line. So we're going to talk about 8 to 9 different tips I'm going to share with you, that if you apply these tips and these steps, you will grow your sales volume. There's no ways around that. So if you're ready and willing to make the effort and keep an open mind and be receptive to learning cold calling, you're going to be rewarded more than you even know. So before we dig into the topic, if you like this video and you're watching it for the first time, or you've been watching my videos and you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscription button and come to the Martial Arts of Sales family. Also, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up because it does help the algorithm. And more importantly, if you think this video can help others, do me a favor, please share it with others. Now, for the introduction. Hello everybody, welcome to the Martial Arts of Sales. I'm going to encourage you to do one thing for me. Grab a pen and a pad and write some of these things down. It's going to benefit you. I want you to take ownership of it because I'm here to help you. I don't need to do this, but I enjoy doing it. So I hope you take advantage of it. I'm excited and I'm pumped up. Let me tell you, it takes every ounce of willpower I have to not get too excited because I love what I do. Do you? Before we get into the topic, I tell you, being a salesperson to me is the greatest profession in the world. Some of you probably heard me say that many times. And I do, and I appreciate what I do. I love what I do. I made many mistakes over the years, but I would never change what I do. Because number one, I solve problems. Number two is without salespeople, nothing gets done. There's no buying, right? So we need to sell. But you got to sell the right way. And the number one tool we all need as salespeople is to never forget how it starts. And that's with cold calling. That's what this topic is all about. You probably get tired of me hearing and talking about cold calling. Yeah, but you know what? One day you're going to look back and say, you know what? I should have done that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do what if I would have done that. And with things that are happening right now with this pandemic that took place, I know a lot of people that got hurt, including myself. But I'm okay with that because I got good old cold calling bailing me out. So I'm going to share with you about 8 to 9, maybe 10 tips, because as I speak, some other ideas come on I may share with you. So I would say between 8 to 10 tips that you need to do every single day so that you can become proficient in cold calling on social media or anywhere, any platform, anywhere, just cold calling in general, whether you're a real estate owner or you're a brokerage owner or a stock broker, it doesn't matter. The process applies to everything. All right, so now let's dig into this topic. I'm excited and I hope you are too. Now, number one is you have to prepare who your target customers or prospects will be. That's a mistake a lot of people do. They just call anybody random. They put leads into a dialing system on the phone. They just call people. I don't do that. I like to know who I can help. I like to know, I want to minimize my mistake and I want to work effective so that I have a higher percent of closing more leads into sales and converting more prospects into customers. So if you got 100% control of who your target audience is or your prospect is, you're going to have a better chance of converting more leads into sales. That's just common sense. And as some of you watch my previous videos about, why people buy, how do they buy, and the emotions we need as salespeople to bring out and prospect, all that combines and interacts with cold calling. So the number one thing is prospects. I'll give you an example of what I do. Whether it's on my social media, people following me, people subscribing to my YouTube channel, calling the Better Business Bureau, calling any search engines. What I do is I always target industries that I'm very well versed in, that I have somewhat of experience with it, and that I've been dealing with these kind of clients for a long time so I can build my cash flow. That doesn't mean I don't work with other industries, but I go with what my bread and butter is. So for example, whether it's, remodeling companies, construction companies, janitorial companies, anything that has to do with real estate, security guard company, pest control company, landscapers, and things like that. And now I'm getting into spas, but spas are harder now because of a lot of the shutdown. But these industries is they deal with contracts. So I know how to minimize their bidding process. So those are some of the industries that I target, but when I call them, I'm prepared. I understand the industry, I understand their language. I know that I already did some investigation on their business and I know that I can help them. So when I make a phone call, every phone call should have a purpose. Don't just make phone calls to make phone calls, because that's just dumb. Make the right phone call so that your learning curve accelerates. You get the right calls, you speak to the right people. So in order to do that, you must and you should target your right audience. Now, where could you get the best audience? Your followers. That's the hottest leads you can get. or have. Just think about that. And remember, in the opening monologue, if you can control who you target, where they're at, and how to get them, and you're 100% control, you're going to increase your conversion ratio by at least 30%. Or at least if you were to go through the martial arts of sales training. But I can show you that. Number 2 is you must have an effective sales script. I did a video on the ingredients to a successful sales script. A sales script is just a path. It's like a train track. Okay? It gets you from point A to point Z. And when you follow the script, as I say in my industry, when I was a stockbroker, there's no money on Pluto or Mars. In other words, when a customer tries to take you out of the process to try to hang up on you, they take you somewhere else where you don't want to go. So if you have the right sales script, the sales script's got to have certain elements in it. It's got to have a questionnaire, what I call discovery question part of it. It has to have an emotional content on it. It has to have a greed factor in it. It has to have a logical and return on investment process. The script is very important. I know some of you think a script is not important. Some of you probably don't use it. That's on you. But for me, any new product that I'm selling or any new industry I get into, I always use a script because it makes my learning curve accelerate and I minimize my mistakes. And it's just a path that I know how to go to. But you got to have an effective script. If you don't have one, please direct message me or email me at themartialartsofsales@gmail.com, and I will get back with you and help you put a script for your industry. Number 3 is sales process is important. I have a process that I've been using for 30 years. And I'm not going to say I created it, but I've learned it where I mastered it for myself. And it's called the Straightline method. Is how to go from the opening of a call to the transition into the body and then to the close. And if you follow that straight line method, that sales process works incredible. So just think about this. If you target the right people and you know where they're at and you know how to get them and you have the right sales script and then you have the right sales process, your chances of doing a one call close just increases exponentially. So just to me, process is everything. Sometimes people have too much process and not enough results. But you got to keep the process where it's effective. And I'll give you an example. My favorite football team is the New England Patriots. Yeah, even though Tom Brady's not there, so I'm voting for Tom Brady and the Patriots. And also the San Antonio Spurs, even though the last few years they haven't been as well. But over the years, they've been the most successful franchises for the last 20 years. And whenever a team is struggling, what they do is they go back to basic. They go back to the process, the techniques, right? So you got to keep that in mind. Sales process is absolutely important because it allows you to be more effective in sales, especially if you have a sales team. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, number 4 is know your prospect's industry. What I would recommend for you small business owners, entrepreneur, and salespeople, pick a specific industry that you like and target those customers for about 60 days. And because first of all, you'll gain confidence. Number 2, you'll get really good at that industry. You'll have a niche. But number 2, you could transition into other products with the same mindset, the same process. So start with one that you're really good at and you get excited about. For me, it's janitorial, believe it or not. And actually, it's remodeling because it has different products, and I could offer any of those. So that's the one I like the most, but I'm good at the other ones as well. So pick your bread and butter, get really good with it, and get really good at it, cold calling at that industry. And all the other industries will follow because if it's the same product you're offering them, you just got to change the language on the industry. But if you know how to sell the services you have, then you should be able to offer it to whatever industry is merited. Does that make sense? So you got to do that. Number 5, this is very important. Understand the power of storytelling. A lot of people ignore that. I don't know why. Because at the end, we're all storytellers. Now, storytelling is not giving BS to people. Storytelling is a lot to it. It's facts with figures, it's emotion, it's objections, it's rebuttals. It's all of it. That's where you actually earn your pay. That's when 90% of the sales either get fulfilled or they get lost. So understand the power of storytelling, because at the end, we all like to hear story. I say this many times. How many of you go to the movies? Why do you go to movies? Why do you watch movies? Whether it's on your cell phone, laptop, tablet, TV, it doesn't matter. Because we all like to hear a good story, or we like to watch a good story. Sometimes you listen to music, right? Why? Because you like to hear good music. Music is a story. You may listen to a radio commentator. Why do you listen to them? Because you like to hear the voice. They're telling you a story, whether it's sports or politics. It doesn't matter. Storytelling is how we live. This advertising, this marketing, this, paper clips, all this is ads. It's just visual ads. But it's still a story. I like the verbal. It's more powerful. It's more engaging. It paints the right picture. Creates the right emotion. Instead of just showing a picture. Does that make sense? So, understand the power of storytelling. If you're having a difficult time learning the art of storytelling, again, I encourage you to email me at themartialartsofsales@gmail.com. I'll respond to you within 24 hours, and I'll show you the art of storytelling. Very important, especially for cold calling, because cold calling transitions, which is the opening, it transitions into the body, which is the storytelling. No matter what level of sales you're in, no matter what you're selling, there's always 3 steps to it: the opening, the body, and the close. Just basic, simple fundamentals that most people don't speak about. So hopefully I'm the one speaking about it that gets your attention and that you do something about it. Number 6 is another critical factor. I'll never do a call without doing this. Is automatic to me. Is you got to understand and make sure you have the right discovery question. You got to qualify your prospect. You do that within the storytelling. Actually, you do that through the ending of the opening and transitioning into the story. Because once you have the facts and they answer questions, now you could tell the story based on that information they have. This is how you qualify somebody, whether they can afford the price of your product or services. Instead of waiting to the end of the call, you ask for the order and then they tell you they can't afford it. Well, shame on you, because you should have known that from the beginning. So discovery questions is a very important part of the cold calling process. It just is. Does that make sense? Don't lose sight of that and don't ignore it, but do it. Number 7, I call it WIIFM. Now that's basically what's in it for me, but it's really for the customer. Okay? Now, the mentality for me is this. I don't worry about the credit card or the closing. What I focus on is them and the process. And if I do those 2 things, the sale will happen. Because I know how to push. I know how to close. But you have to make it about them, but you also have to be able to sell yourself. And by making it about them and how it benefits them and how you listen to them is how you make it about you, is how you're selling yourself. Because at the end, I've learned this a long time ago. I'm the commodity. I'm the bridge between the customer and the product. Now, if they don't trust me or you, and they don't like you or me, no matter how great the product is, they're not going to buy. They just won't. They'll give you every excuse in the world. Yeah, call me back. They'll set up an appointment. They'll never pick up the phone again. Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me. So you got to remember that. What's in it for them? And it's called WIIFM, what's in it for me. But when I mean me, I mean them. Always make it about them. Because remember, you call them. If they're texting you or they're sending you a direct message on your social media, then you got to take that call to action. That's like a voice message that they want to do business and then you don't call them back. But you still go about it the same way. Never take it for granted. Does that make sense? Number 8 is, it's an old saying I use, it's called a self-wrap. And one of the things that I do within the call, I'm selling myself without talking about myself. The way you sell yourself is the way you listen to your customers, the way you handle objections or rejection, however you take it, the way you do the rebuttals, the way you ask certain questions, the way you're in tune to their industry and speaking their language without you realizing you're increasing your value, giving a self rap. Now, typically when you get to the close and you did everything you could and they're on the edge but they didn't really buy yet, that's when I use what I call the box close at the end, which is myself, right? Why people should, hey, Mr. Customer, there's 3 reasons why people don't buy, and blah 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 blah. I said, if I had been your salesperson and I made you money consistently, you would have been doing this for me, right? Yeah. So the reason why is because you don't know me, you don't know my company, we don't have a relationship, right? That answers their concern. And then you could talk about yourself and explain why he should do business with you, why people do business with you, why they should do business with your company, etc., etc. So that's a self-rap too. But and through the whole process, you really are creating your rap. I hate to use the word sell because it sounds selfish, but you're selling you. You're offering you. You're valuable. And that's what you got to always sell. You got to sell value, not only in yourself, but also a genuine, sincere product and services that's going to help them. And cold calling is where it starts. These are things I use every single day, every time. And it comes automatic for me because it's part of what I do. People won't even know what I'm doing because I do it so well and I do it so long and so many times. It's automatic for me. You know what I mean? And then number 9 is you got to have a very powerful, effective, strong opening or initial call. You can't get to the end of the call unless you're very good at the opening. I'm going to give you a tip on the opening. No matter what the product or service is, understand this. When you cold call somebody, they're going to have a perceived value about you. They're going to have a certain mindset, a certain attitude. Unless you're well-established company, there's $1 billion and so on, they may still feel the same way. Because to be honest with you, nobody likes cold callers. They consider us telemarketers. But, at the end, that's their mindset. But always remember this. They're going to have a defense mechanism. And as a professional in the opening to get to the closing and earn your pay, you have to address that without them bringing it up. So one of the things I always use in my opening of my call is I'll be brief and to the point. I know that you're busy. It sounds corny. I've been using it for 30 years, and if it's the corniest thing I've ever heard, I'm going to keep using it because it works. Then I follow with, if they object after that, listen, you get a lot of these calls. I understand and respect that. Whether you're doing social media and people are following you or not, always have that in your tool. Get used to doing it the same way all the time. Become repetitive. It's like a boxer. When you first start to box, it has to be a martial artist. I want to throw punches hard and all. No. You got to throw it slow, slow, slow. Then it becomes fast. Then it becomes power because the muscle memory, it starts to become you. You're exercising that muscle. It's like anything else. So when you practice that, and it's not what you say, it's how you say it as well, is very important. What I'm going to start doing when I get back from vacation, every topic that I speak about when it comes to cold calling, storytelling, conviction, persuasion, whatever the case may be, I'm actually going to be doing a live call on that specific part of the pitch. And I'm going to address it based on that live phone call so that you can see that it works. I'm all about doing things live. I'm all about showing people cold calling. And I do that with all my sales reps. I show them, I cold call right in front of them and show them how it works. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of theoretical people out there that write books, they write about sales, they just copy other people's stuff, but they're not really good salespeople, they're really good con artists. I want to keep it real, I want to keep it unique, original. I'm happy to say, and I'm very blessed to say, that all the content I put out there is my writing alone. I don't copy anybody else's things. I don't use third-party motivational things. I try to be authentic, unique, and original. It's just the way I'm built. It's just the way I am, and I hope you appreciate that. So I truly hope this has been helpful. I want to thank all of you for sharing your time with me, being part of the Martial Arts to Sales family. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscription button below. Do give me likes and thumbs up, because it does help the algorithm. And if you really, truly believe this video can help others, please share it with them. And till we speak again, I say goodbye. This is Paul Cruz with the Martial Arts to Sales. Have a fantastic day. Bye.